Dana Fisk, resplendent in black and gold, singing the national anthem tonight for this preseason game. Tonight's starting goalies are brought to you by NESN.com. Kevin Poulin, last season, lost 5 more in regulation than he came out victorious, and a sub-900 save percentage. Nicholas Svedberg, pretty good season in Providence last season, has not been too impressive in the preseason so far, so he's looking to have a good, solid game against an Islanders team that gave the Bruins a hard time last season. Claude Julien behind the Boston bench once again, and the game is on. Patrice Bergeron flanked by Craig Cunningham on the right, Brad Marchand on the left, Zdeno Chara and Dougie Hamilton, the defensive pair. And Brick, as we often do in preseason games, with all due respect to Isles fans who might be watching us on the NHL Network, we're pretty much looking at how the Bruins are playing on both sides of the puck.
Yeah, that's what exhibition season is all about. It's an opportunity for us, too, to chip a little rust off our game, but it's to focus on the Bruins and the competition that's going on and what this team's going to look like on October 8th.
Here's world-class John Tavares going against Dougie Hamilton, who steers him to the boards. Bergeron there to dig the backhand of Marchand, snaps it behind Cunningham. He takes it on the carom, and he works against Kevin Churchman. Bruins dump in and change out. David Krejci with Milan Lucic and Louis Eriksson on his wing. Churchman around past Svedberg. Josh Bailey on the far side. Seidenberg with perhaps the best feet in hockey, kicking the puck forward. Bailey takes it a little deep past Seidenberg to the corner. Eriksson keeps him on the perimeter. A long shot by Scott Mayfield goes wide of the end boards, and Krejci digs it away from Ryan Strome. Lucic can't seal off Mayfield. Lucic returning from a wrist injury. Long drive. Kuhlman out at the point. Svedberg steers it aside, and Eriksson takes Lucic's outlet pass. Trickles it in. Lucic keeps the feet moving. Gets the angle on Mayfield. Wins the puck. And McQuaid's drive knocked down in the slot. Soderberg couldn't one time the rebound past Kuhlman's block.
Yeah, that puck was in by his skates, Soderberg that was, and the puck was bouncing and spinning. Couldn't really get the one-timer he was looking for on the forehand side.
Soderberg with huge speed, and the drive from Fraser coming down the slot. Soderberg moves so well for a big man. His first couple strides, and bam, he's up to speed. Really surprised Mayfield.
Well, once he's committed himself more to conditioning, which he did at the beginning of last year, Jack, after the experience he had late in the regular season, a little bit in the playoffs, that he needed to up the conditioning levels if he wanted to be the player he wanted to be at the NHL level. And a lot different from what goes on over in Europe, where he was a dominant player. It's helped his skating game. He gets there quicker because he reads the play well. He can dish the puck. He's got a real good shot. And Fraser, who's one of these guys, these young guys that are competing for, well, 1 or 2, perhaps 3 open spots up front for this Bruins team, already with a pair of goals in camp, gets a real good opportunity coming late right down the middle on a good feed from Soderberg.
Adam McQuaid stick handling up to the red line, dumps it into the opposite corner. Chris Kelly centering the 4th line tonight. Bruins still without Gregory Campbell. TJ Brennan gives it over to, this will make it feel old, that's Paul Reinhardt's boy, number 8, who just knocked down Jordan Caron. Griffith Reinhardt, really highly sought after defenseman, and he's really going to be a star in this league.
Jack, we don't need any help in that area about feeling old.
Another birthday in the Brickley family.
Yes! My daughter Kayla turns 18 today. Happy birthday, Kayla.
Bobby Robbins announcing his presence with a thumping check in the neutral zone. Robbins wearing number 64. Thomas Hickey gives the puck D to D, and Robbins is flying all over the ice, hitting anything in Islanders blue and orange.
Yeah, a little look between Martin and Robbins after that hit, so make note of that.
Yeah, Matt Martin is no stranger to danger. He loves to mix it up. Hamilton finds Marchand in the seam. Cal Clutterbuck coming back and making contact, as he always does, often among the NHL hits leaders. Bergeron to the corner, gets inside position on Hickey against the wall. spins it over to Marchand. He chips the puck to the corner. Tavares takes it on the bounce. He's got a Poso on his right. Tavares off a couple of legs. The Poso glides into the corner. Gets room against Hamilton. Can't hit Tavares on the sweep. Here comes Conacher down the slot for the chance on Svedberg. Churchman gets sealed off on Cunningham's hit. That's part of what makes Cunningham an attractive player, doing the job in the defensive zone, making physical contact to help clear the puck. Tavares tries to get through McQuaid. He seals off the body, and the puck trickles harmlessly to Nicholas Svedberg.
Well, one of the guys we talked about in the open, Jack, that's competing for perhaps that fourth line right wing slot is Bobby Robbins. Does not shy away from the physical contact. Hickey trying to make a play along the wall. If you can angle even the best skaters into a position where they have nowhere to go but towards the boards, it's such an advantage for the defending player. It's all about angles, and then finish your check, be committed, good body contact.
Nikolai Kulemin with the deep. Tosses the backhand to Strome. He flips it across the goal mouth out the other side. Lucic tangled up far side. McQuaid handles the puck out of his skates. Eriksson on the pivot near where Orpik flattened him last season. McQuaid chases back to the corner. Strome plays the body. Kulemin in trouble on the boards, gives up possession. And McQuaid has a free out as both teams change. Through the center circle, Louis Eriksson scoots it down to the corner. Kevin Churchman on the turn, trying to get away from Matt Frazier. The pass goes off of Soderberg's stick, I thought. No, it's icing. It got through there clean.
Well, ever since Claude Julien took over the Boston Bruins, Jack, once he established that foundation of defense, protect the house, you're in every game, if you're able to let your goaltenders know where all the shots are coming from, and each successive year he's trying to add a new element to the game as his personnel has not only changed, but it's improved with the coaching. They coach the players up, you get some better talent, you draft and develop, you identify your core guys, you lock them up. That's management's job. They've done all those things. And this year, one thing that they're going to try to do more of is in the neutral zone. Try to eliminate teams from coming into the offensive zone, where the defense can stand up more in center ice and not wait for the back check or the back pressure from the forwards and stay inside the dots. It's not going to be constant. It's not going to be every defensive stature or stand at your blue line. But if you're able to read, react, take away time and space in the neutral zone without backing off the blue line, the Bruins are going to try to add that to their defensive game plan this year.
One of the most refreshing things about Claude Julien and getting to observe him on a day-in, day-out basis is that he has not only tremendous pride in what he does and thoroughness in it, but he also has the humility to examine his own coaching style and tactics, and constantly is looking for ways to improve, to make sure that he stays with an evolving game, and to make sure that his team is a little bit ahead of the crest of the wave. Bruins and the Islanders in a preseason game. We'll have more about the Bruins coaching staff and a new face when we return. Near, that's assistant general manager Don Sweeney, goalie consultant Bob Essenza, and you can just see Joe Sacco, new Bruins assistant coach, on the near side, and I'll prove that I didn't grow up in that town by calling it Medford. And Sacco and Doug Jarvis are going to take over the power play guidance. Jeff Ward has taken a head coaching job in the German league, and Jeff Ward leaves a lot of friends behind here in Boston, but I got a feeling we'll see him behind an NHL bench pretty soon. But interesting that Sacco and Jarvis are going to split that power play duty, and the Bruins were efficient, although not terribly prolific on the power play last season. Johnny Boychuk's one-timer, and Robbins fishing around for the puck, couldn't quite find the handle in the goal mouth scramble.
Yeah, the power play last year finished third in the National Hockey League in terms of percentage, percentage efficiency. The number you'd like to see change is the opportunities. If you're going to be somewhere around 21, 22% effective with the man advantage, for some reason, and it's an open discussion as to why the Bruins don't get more power plays, and a lot of different theories as to why. But now that they have two quality units because of the personnel that they have and a better grasp of what a power play is and what it should look like.
Bergeron scores! scores. The wraparound comes back. He stays at the play and roofs it over the stick side shoulder of Poulin.
And you can even score an even strength. Just typical Bergeron. Tenacity around the puck, his ability to protect the puck below the goal line. The play is never over when you talk about Patrice Bergeron. Face-off win, pursuit. Nice job from his line mates to try to find open space. The puck finds its way back to him. And he just stays with it. Now you got Poulin leaning in towards the middle of the net, trying to find that puck and look through the legs of his own teammates right in front of him. And when you start to lean to the middle, low to find the puck, what's open? High blocker. And that's exactly where Bergeron went.
Brad Marchand goes for a tumble in the neutral zone, and we get an interference call here against Matt Donovan, the defenseman.
Islanders penalty number 46. 2 minutes. Interference.
A little bit of contact, enough there in the eyes of the officials to call interference. I know you had a question at the presser this morning for Claude Julien about diving, Jack.
Yeah, if you're going to go down, you better make it legit, because they are watching on video in Toronto and reviewing dives, and players are going to start getting fined for them, and it's going to be a public event. Simon Gagne did not play at all last year. Here's Eriksson's drive and a save by Poulin. Gagne, an interesting case. A big-time goal scorer, especially when he was with the Philadelphia Flyers. Had a significant concussion in December of 2011. Really scuffled for a couple of years. A lot of people thought he was all done, but he's getting a chance here in camp. Hamilton with a rocket goes sailing over the top. Gagne is a finisher. Often in his career, here's a shot from Bergeron from the slot, but often in his career, Gagne has actually had more goals than assists in a season. He is a terrific finishing player, especially on special teams. Had 7 shorthanded goals one year.
No, he's got a pretty good balanced game when you talk about offense. Sees the ice well, understands the art of the give and go, knows how to get open space in the offensive zone. You know, tries to not put himself in situations where he's going to lose. Maybe the physical battles, tries to use his guile and his quickness and his savvy and his speed. And, you know, he's trying to show the Boston Bruins staff and those that are making decisions as to who's going to make this squad that he's not just a points guy, that he's got a complete game. I can kill penalties. I can be out there in the final minute of a period or a game in order to get the job done. And those are the things the Bruins are looking for, not just the goals and assists.
And in terms of the individual player, of course, his first goal, his primary goal, is to make the Boston Bruins roster out of camp. But if a team's going to cut you, it might as well be a really, really good and really deep team. And chances are, if Gagne shows well here for the Bruins, even in the opportunity, in the chance that he doesn't stick, showing well for the Bruins in the preseason will make him an attractive acquisition for another team down the line. Boychuk pops it up, bounces around top of the circle. Thomas Hickey scrapes it loose. Josh Bailey with a puck on edge, waits and dribbles it to Boychuk in the Boston end. Krejci taps to Marchand on the off wing. He's got Fraser cruising down the slot. Krejci rotating. Clutterbuck picks it off. Clutterbuck hops over Boychuk's stick, stays on his skates. And Krejci steals the puck and leads a 3-on-2 up ice. Here's Chara on the wing. Turns back away from Churchman. Churchman gets a piece of the pass down the boards. Krejci digs it off the kick plate. Clutterbuck comes over and makes contact. One shot on the power play. Johnny Boychuk's wrist shot. Tipped by Chara. Loose in the goal mouth. Clutterbuck off the boards and it gets over the line. Boychuk withstands the hit from Donovan fresh out of the box.
Yeah, it was kind of a tough shift for Donovan, and you know, he avoids being a bit of a goat. It was that Bergeron goal. The puck deflected off his leg, came right back to Bergeron. Seconds later, he's taking an interference penalty in the neutral zone. Could have put his team down by a pair early.
Kyle Okposo on the pivot, but Lucic fills the space and he can't penetrate. Now Caron digs the puck out of Okposo's skates and he tumbles over. Craig Cunningham goes wing to wing, and Lucic is ahead of the play offside.
You know, we were discussing the Bruins in the power play and looking for more opportunities when Bergeron gave the Bruins a quick 1-0 lead. And That's a tough break right there for Donovan. He's trying to make the right play with his skates, trying to make a possession play and get it out of a dangerous spot. But unfortunately for him, and fortunately for Boston and Bergeron, it came right back. Bergeron goes short side high.
Bartkowski takes the hit from Tavares. It's off of Lucic's skates. Cunningham under pressure from Opozo. Bartkowski quickly backhands around to McQuaid. Rattles off Caron's skates. Cunningham hard pass to Bartkowski. Lucic against the grain. Cunningham recovers. McQuaid to Seidenberg. Couple of quick steps to get to the wall. And the puck rolls down to Thomas Hickey. Both teams change out personnel. Thomas Hickey, Franz Nielsen, who had a couple of shining performances against the Bruins last season. Bobby Robbins chugging through the neutral zone. Anders Lee says hello with a check. Fraser looking over his shoulder. Buys a little bit of time in the corner. Now goes for a stumble. Churchman, the defenseman, over on him. Boychuk snaps to Seidenberg. The wrist shot bounces through Nielsen's stick. Fraser keeps it alive. Robbins to Fraser, gloves it down, back to Robbins, has space, draws Churchman. Kelly, the little mule kick, it squirts out past Robbins. Seidenberg holds, fires into the circle. Nielsen with a quick couple of steps, 3-on-3 up ice. Anders Lee dumps into Boychuk's corner. Boychuk reverses past Nielsen. Robbins picks up the puck, loses control. Skilly keeps it alive. Robbins' physical presence well seen in the first period, knocking Anders Lee for a slide. Seidenberg to the red line, whirls it around through the corners.
That's a pretty good effort by Robbins. That's late in the shift where you're a little spent, especially at this time of year. Some of that energy is used up because you know you're in a battle for a spot, but he still had enough strength to win a puck battle.
Bergeron off Marchand's physical work on the boards. Churchman in the corner. Cunningham goes in hard after it. Strome tries to rake it out of his skates. Chara keeps the bouncing puck in the zone. Bailey, the blind backhand, trying to hit the man in the seam, Kuhlman. Chara chops back to center. Reinhart, tumbling puck. Chara controls it with the right skate blade. Around to Krejci. Krejci back to Chara, off the backhand, under pressure from Strome across to Hamilton. Hamilton takes the space in front of him, gains the line against Reinhart, flicks it past Eriksson's reach. And Reinhart up the wall. Hamilton snapshot. Lucic the tip, and the deflection goes wide. Clutterbuck off a stick and out of play. 7:40 to go in the first period. Patrice Bergeron. Business as usual. No emotion there. Just 1-0. Let's drop the puck at center.
Well, the biggest news out of training camp this week has been that Torrey Krug and Riley Smith reached an agreement with the Bruins this week, both of them signing one-year deals. Now, both players are a little bit rusty, having missed a little bit of training camp, but they're ready to get going. Torrey Krug said that it was a nerve-wracking process, but he's ready to put it behind him and get into preseason. Now, both players are not on the ice tonight, but they should be expected back in the lineup shortly.
Karen, thank you. $1.4 million apiece, one-year deals. Both players eager to get back at it. And the Bruins, for the first time in a while, are having some cap management issues. But it is a result of tremendous depth and a still young core that has earned its raises. Bartkowski with a little bump on Clutterbuck, just getting him off balance. Cizikas cruises all the way toward the blue line, throws it into the slot. Bartkowski sticks it aside from McQuaid, tosses the backhand up and out.
Nice little left jab by Svedberg, right on back of Clutterbuck's helmet. After Clutterbuck got knocked down a little bit right in front of him.
Well, you know, perhaps inspired by seeing the Islanders, memories of Billy Smith, right?
Yeah.
Watch your ankles. Tavares, a nifty stick handling move into the slot, but Krejci's there. Krejci's been in the top 20 in Selke voting several times, better known for leading the NHL playoffs in scoring in 2 of the last 4 seasons, but always has played the 200-foot game. And Brick, you know that what David Krejci did immediately after Game 7 against Montreal, when he came out and he faced about 50 members of the media and single-handedly took credit for the series loss. Hey, you know, it's a team game. Obviously, it's not one guy, but he was so disappointed in his personal performance. It speaks so highly of his character. He made no excuses. He said, if you're a #1 center in this league, you gotta produce in situations like this, and I didn't do it.
And you hope it's a learning experience for a guy that just continues to get better the deeper he gets in his career, with a more experience and a greater understanding of just how good he is and how important he is, that he has to play the Bruins style and to be satisfied with 70 to 80 points a year because you're so important to how the Bruins want to play and conduct themselves and be a character guy. And part of that character comes with learning hard lessons that when teams game plan for you and try to take you away in order to minimize the damage that you can do, you know, that's the stuff where you need to make adjustments in your game in order to be the player that you want to be in the postseason, which he has been the majority of the time.
Takes one right across the schnoz here, pursuing the puck in the corner. I think Peter Chiarelli's actions spoke pretty loudly this summer. As Krejci got a big extension. Boychuk drives the puck into the crease. Eriksson wreaking a little havoc there. Here's Eriksson. Churchman wraps him up in the corner and waits for a little bit of help. Krejci bangs Nielsen down, comes away with the puck. Pass deflects off the board. Seidenberg to Krejci to Lucic, the one-timer. A save by Poland. 5:41 to go in the first. Bruins leading the Islanders 1-0. Maybe preseason, but it hurts just the same. Ouch.
Bruins on top of the Islanders, 1-0. Let's take a look at David Krejci. He knows his pass is going to get deflected. It's not a clean pass, so he needs to get to open space. Keep your feet moving, find open areas, and when you do that, now you can set up what you do best, and that's that triangle in the offensive zone. Look how wide open Milan Lucic is in that high slot, the triangle formation, but the David Krejci read to get to open space when it's not a clean play. It's how you play without the puck, Jack, that can really create good offense.
Lucic injuring the wrist in Game 7 against Montreal. Hamilton's snapshot all the way in on Poland. And Bobby Robbins being a bit of a pest to the Islanders.
Play to your strengths.
Yep. Don't get noticed for playing outside your capabilities. Get noticed for fulfilling your capabilities. Cizikas wins the draw against Kelly. Kelly on the backhand. Cizikas whacks the puck back to the boards. Kelly rotates to the line to keep it in. Goes indirect off the end boards, but a good read from Scott Mayfield. Zone time of 48 consecutive seconds on the shift. A little bit of an emergency in front as the Bruins don't control the tumbling puck. Casey Cizikas having a good shift, gets it into the middle, but McQuaid takes the puck unopposed. Thread needle pass from Bartkowski, works its way through Kelly to Robbins into the right wing corner. Chara tries to fire it middle. It comes off the skate of TJ Brennan. And here's Kuhlman with a burst of speed, cuts inside, can't hold his edge on the cut across the goal mouth. Dougie Hamilton skates away from Ryan Strome, but Brennan intercepts, loops it, and it rolls on edge down to the corner. Bergeron past Chara to Hamilton, tries to whack the backhand ahead to Cunningham, who takes the hit to get it to Marchand. On the go against Reinhart, hits the brakes from the knees, controls the puck, gets back up, tips it to the blue line. Hustle by Boychuk, keeps it in. Off the glass, around to Brennan, spinning away from Cunningham. Bergeron seals off the exit route, but the Islanders still manage to clear. It's Josh Bailey. Patrice Bergeron's speed is not the kind of noticeable speed like a Phil Kessel. Here's Donovan teeing it up. The rebound, Bailey can't get it past Svedberg. Bailey fires away, and it bounces down to Bergeron. But Bergeron is so great at going wing to wing in support. 2-on-1, Marchand to Cunningham, saved by Poland, diving right to left, and the puck stays loose along the apron.
Both goaltenders, each end of the ice, making quality stops. Svedberg got two, both of them up high with positional stops in that butterfly position. just letting the puck hit him up around the neck area. And then a good effort by Poulin on the 2-on-1. Marchand and Cunningham.
I was going to guess on sound that hit him in the mask, but yeah, it might have sounded more like that neck protector. You've got eyes like a hawk. Soderberg one-hands it away back to Bartkowski. He spins the puck back into the Islanders zone, and we get a stoppage, and Svedberg's got an equipment issue, maybe because it hit the neck protector.
Yeah, the neck of the mask. The drive through traffic by Donovan. It's a high drive. Svedberg did a pretty good job to try to get himself in position to get a good look at it. Then the 2-on-1 after Marchand made a nice little self-pass up the wall. Perfect pass to Cunningham. Cunningham did what he tried, what he should have tried to do, which was to elevate that puck, go up under the crossbar. But Poulin, a pretty big kid, gets across. Good push right to left. And able to get enough of that puck to keep it up. Cunningham tried to bank it in off him after that from below the goal line.
Well, as you said in the pregame break, this is a guy who's got a scoring touch, couple of consecutive 25-goal years, and he had 20 the year before, I believe, in Providence. So he has proven that he can score consistently at that level. Now, can he contribute consistently at this? Kyle Okposo with the tight turn. Gagne reads it. It's off his skate. Second chance. And Tavares spanks it across ice. McQuaid buries Conacher along the end wall. Tavares spins the puck middle, but there's Soderberg. Carl Soderberg chips it ahead. Matt Fraser softly past Churchman to the corner. Fraser intercepts Mayfield's attempt. Chara on the pivot at the line. D to D to Hamilton. Through the stick of Conacher, it wobbles all the way to Fraser. Fraser chops it to Gagne. Back pedals away from Churchman's pressure. Shields the puck. Gets it back from Soderberg and misses wide of the post.
There's that give and go. Simple little hockey. Heads up play. Good decisions by Gagne. Good return pass Soderberg.
Gagne out of the cycle in the corner. Comes high circle. Has a lot of options. Gives to Eriksson. He closes. Throws it into the goal mouth. Soderberg there to keep the puck moving. And the Bruins have more zone time. We got this new pop-on gizmo after a team gets over 30 seconds of consecutive zone time this year. And that's generally when defensemen really start wearing down and having difficulties.
Yeah, a strong shift, especially by Gagne. Just his smarts in the offensive zone. We talked about him knowing how to find open space, the effective short little pass, the give and go. You isolate a defender, you 2-on-1 him as best you can, and try to find that open space. Got a real good look, just missed low glove side.
Seidenberg to head off Lucic's stick. Brennan back past the red line. Brennan over to Reinhart. And the Islanders are offside with a buck and a half to go in the first.
Make sure you always know when the Bruins are on NESN. Download the schedule into your favorite web, mobile, or desktop calendar program now. Visit NESN.com/schedule.
So Claude Julien is trying to look at the big picture and see how guys fit together. He's compensating for guys like Lucic, who's working off some rust tonight. And he's also looking at guys like Cunningham, guys that you highlighted in the pregame show, and Bobby Robbins. And how do you impress individually while at the same time you're showing the coach that you totally get it and you fit in team concept as well, in an unselfish system in which often it's hard to shine as an individual?
Well, it all begins with team concept. That's where it has to begin, no matter what kind of player you are, whether you're a Sagan Kessel type player or if you're a Craig Cunningham, Bobby Robbins type of player. It has to be team concept. What is my responsibility on the ice each time I step out there? And in the Bruins system, it's defense turning into offense. And if you play that style and have that believability and allow your skill set to then allow you to play within the system, you will get noticed, and you will probably play your best hockey as a result.
The system is your friend. The Bruins ice it here.
In Boston it is.
Yes. And now we're used to the hybrid icing. And it would seem that the linesmen are used to it too. It's there were 0 icing-related injuries last season, and that's a good thing. It's hard not to miss some of those all-out races to the end boards for a loose puck. And one remembers Brad Marchand in the Stanley Cup final, setting up a goal on a situation like that. But both parties, the management group and the players, decided it shouldn't be part of the game anymore, and now it's in its second season.
And to follow that up, Jack, with the icings now and the strategy that every team used a year ago, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? Isn't that the old phrase where you'd have a winger come in to take the face off, get thrown out on purpose to give you maybe 4 or 5 extra seconds to catch your breath after an icing because you can't make the line change. And now the league has addressed that as well, as well as backing people off.
Yeah, and a wider trapezoid. Yeah. They've moved the points where the lines off the end board touch the goal line much wider, so goalies are going to have a lot more latitude there. They're going to be able to play the puck farther away from the post right after Martin Brodeur finished up with the New Jersey Devils. And also hash marks wider at the sides of the circles in the attacking zones for the wingers. Kelly coming out high, 30 seconds to go in the period. Strome up to center. McQuaid knocks the puck back in. And it's almost like if you've ever had the misfortune of having food poisoning for Adam McQuaid, get it all over with, right? Get it out of your system. The injuries just dogged McQuaid for a year and a half, and it wasn't like there was a whole bunch of pattern to him. He had the nagging, what was it, core injury or mid-body injury,
quad or whatever you want to call it,
wouldn't go away. But man, he's looking physically fit right now.
Oh, absolutely. He never looked healthy last year, and you've watched him closely here in training camp. He's got a good stride.
Hamilton into the pile. Strome carefully out of the zone in the final 5 seconds. Bergeron back to collect the puck, and he has the game's only goal as the siren sounds down the first.
A pretty good first period for Boston. Strong lineup for the Bruins tonight here on home ice in the Garden. I'm not sure it's their A team, but they got that strength on the back end and strength down the middle, which really is the core strength of this Bruins team, and they look good in the opening 20.
Yeah, some jobs up for grabs. Bobby Robbins thumping the body around. Craig Cunningham digging hard against the boards. Dale and Barry, nice to be back with you, boys. Boston Bruins Hockey on NESN is brought to you by Ace Ticket. And it's filled in pretty decently here as we head toward the second period. The Bruins and New York Islanders playing a preseason game at TD Garden. And the Bruins with a 1-0 lead thanks to Patrice Bergeron's goal at 6:45 of the first period. Well, earlier tonight, Garrett Austin filed this report on the Bruins captain, who continues to set the premium level.
Thanks, Jack. As all these question marks get filled this week, there's one thing that's never questioned: Zdeno Chara's fitness level. At 37 years old, he's entering his 18th season in the league and his 9th as a Bruin. This morning, head coach Claude Julien had high praise for his captain's conditioning.
He continues to dominate, in the fitness testing every year. He wants to be the best, continues to be the best. So I think just saying that is pretty impressive of an athlete his size. It's not easy. When you look at pull-ups, when you're 6'9", you're 250, and you're doing more pull-ups than anybody else, it's not just impressive, it's really impressive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've never done 35 pull-ups combined in my life, but he did 35 in a row. And, can we just stop comparing young, tall defenseman to Zdeno Chara, because there's never going to be another guy like this, ever.
Yeah, and it's such it's a luxury to have him as your captain in the lineup, a guy that wants to play every night. Remember at the end of the season last year, you're trying to get him out of the lineup, give him some rest for the postseason, wanted nothing to do with it. Yeah. Again, it speaks to his conditioning, his commitment to the conditioning, the fact that he grew up understanding the value of being a highly conditioned athlete, and then the impact it has on the rest of the team. It reminds me of Raymond Bourque. The teams that I was fortunate enough to play on in the late 80s, early 90s here in Boston, when you have your ultimate player, your captain, your leader, and he's the most fit, and he's the most committed, and he practices like it's game conditions, man, that can make you a good team.
Patrice Bergeron trying to get away from Thomas Hickey along the wall. Hamilton with room, the blast tipped in front. Marchand getting the stick in good position, but it flails wide. Chara ahead to Hamilton. Hamilton spins it, it hits the dasher, bounces past Hickey. Marchand tries to center and Donovan blocks it. Bergeron snaps it on the blade. His stick tries to reverse, but Tavares is there. Okposo can't thread the needle, and there's Chara again. Chara, an extraordinarily well-educated man and self-educated as well while he's been a professional hockey player. But one of the things he's worked on hardest is becoming a better leader. Perhaps tried to do it too much when he came here right away for what turned out to be a disastrous first season at Boston.
It almost seemed, Jack, that the criticism, if you can phrase it that way, when he was early in the captaincy with the Bruins, is that he wanted everybody or expected every player to have the same value system as he had, and it's just not possible. You know, it's 25 different individuals that come at it differently. I mean, everybody's committed, everybody wants to win, everybody buys into the team first attitude, but it's also lifestyle, how you like to live, likes and dislikes, and you know, how you spend your downtime. And once he had a better grasp of that and a better understanding that I can be a leader but allow these guys to be the individuals that they are, then he really started to figure out you know, the impact that he could have as the captain of his team.
There's been a good vibe in this room for a long time. And winning helps make that easier, but also the good chemistry is part of what makes them a winning franchise. Islanders are offside. And again, you know, we got to give a little bit of credit not only to Chara but also to the coaching staff standing behind him, because they've got their finger on the pulse. They know what's going on in the room. There's really good communication there, and the assistants such as Doug Huda and of course the head coach Claude Julien and Doug Jarvis there, constantly in communication with the players, finding out not only what's going on with their games, but what's going on off the ice. You know, they are human beings. They got families. They got other issues. Things are going on that are variable, and it's all about enabling players to give a maximum high-level performance for 60 minutes. Matt Fraser. Gagne bunts it, doesn't get much on it. Nielsen, tight turn, find a little bit of space, wiggles away from Gagne's reach. Soderberg rides off the check in the neutral zone. Fraser digs down to the hash marks, goes up high on Poulin, who makes a shoulder save. Boychuk snaps the puck through the corner. Fraser knocks it down with the toe of the blade, shields it, gives to Gagne in the cycle. And there's Reinhart to tap it around through the corner, but Boychuk pinches down. Soderberg's pass splits Fraser, and Bartkowski comes all the way back to Nicholas Svedberg. Now Bartkowski, the tight turn past the post, now gets around Casey Martin. Here comes Bobby Robbins with Caron in the middle, and Kelly filling on the far side. Kelly goes high slot. Robbins a tight turn around the goal, gives it to Bartkowski, fakes the one-timer. Boychuk holds, throws it into the pile, and Martin takes it cleanly off his stick. Bartkowski fires it in deep. Robbins tags up and pressures Donovan. Flattens him. Got a good running start and then glided in the final 10 feet, so it wasn't a charging penalty. He came a great distance, but made sure he kept the skates on the ice.
One of those set spikes. You're getting pressure from one side from Caron. It's a green light hit as long as you stay within the rules.
Chara, the backhand slide over to Hamilton. Two forecheckers, Clutterbuck and Martin, in deep, but the Bruins break through it. Cunningham can't flutter the pass through Tavares, who has unbelievable hands. A great lacrosse player as well as a hockey player as a youngster. Here's Tavares, past Bergeron in front of his own goal to Hickey. Okposo goes wing to wing across the defensive line. Matt Donovan, the defenseman, bounces it wide as Svedberg comes out the near side to Chara. Dougie Hamilton, good stick on the bouncing puck. Cunningham has it, goes in directly for Marchand. A good reach back from Churchman, who spells his name C-Z-U-C-Z, and I would imagine it's been mispronounced only tens of thousands of times. We got some help from the Islanders on that one. Mayfield goes for a tumble as Marchand goes shoulder to shoulder and uses the leverage. Rick, you talk about young hockey players learning how to check, and there was an example of it from Marchand don't have to overpower the guy. Bergeron in the slot. Second chance after the stick lift. Conacher on the back check. Bergeron maintains possession. Flutters it across the middle. Bounces to Lucic. High slot. Seidenberg's drive save. Pull in rebound. Eriksson tries to slide it through the 5-hole, but Poland gets the blocker down.
Pretty good pressure by the Bruins in the offensive zone with a number of different lines. Bergeron line had a pretty good opportunity. The physical contact, the pressure from one side, Caron. Donovan knows he can't go that way. He's just looking to go hard wraparound. And you got to commit to the hits. Take the body. Plenty of strengths. Robin's done a lot of that tonight. Thought we might see him and Martin go in that first period. Didn't quite materialize, but he continues to do what he does best, and that's make body contact on the forecheck.
We were walking out of the tunnel after the morning skate this morning, and Bobby Robbins asked to look at the roster. And we knew what he was looking at. He was saying, have I gone with that guy? Have I gone with that guy? Providence Bruins and Bridgeport Sound Tigers have had many a bout. Boychuk's blast goes off Skilly's ankle. Griffin Reinhart back out to center. And we get a stoppage.
The Boston Bruins and the Massachusetts State Lottery have teamed up to launch the all-new 2014 Boston Bruins Instant Ticket. You can score big by instantly winning one of 10 $50,000 prizes, or by entering the second chance drawing for the opportunity to participate in one of 5 Bruins on-ice challenges, competing to win your shot at $25,000. Play the new Boston Bruins Instant Ticket today, now available in stores across Massachusetts.
We just got to look at Griffin Reinhart, and I don't know about you, Brick, but it's the first time I've seen him play in person, and all we heard about this guy starting about 2 years ago was, man, this kid can really skate, and he's got a good head about him. So far, the scouting report's been right on the button.
Well, you know, the coaching staff of the New York Islanders are all UMaine guys, and Bobby Beers, another UMaine guy, had a chance to visit with them this morning, and Beersy was telling me in his conversation with the coaching staff, along with Gar Snow, the GM, that they really envision him as a shutdown type defenseman because of the skill set that you're talking about. Maybe not so much of that offensive flair that his dad might have had at the National Hockey League level, but because of his skating ability and that hockey IQ, he can be that type of player where he gets, you know, that Ryan Suter type minutes, and he's on the ice against top offensive talent because he understands angles, understands how to read a play, how to take pucks away from people by using that skill set, not just have it overpower them like, say, the way Chara has learned to use his stick and body position and not just his brute strength.
Fraser turning one way then the other. Soderberg working it back to McQuaid. Comes off the board, slaps it to Bartkowski. Coming out high. Soderberg turns and fires.
Love that play.
And the Bruins again with good zone time, and at least 3 times already tonight we've seen a forward come way out high to the blue line.
I love that. You know, we call it the high triangle, and you know, the way teams defend, where they stack it up in the slot, and then they try to front the point men to not be able to have any lanes to the net to get shots through. What opens up? A high slot, and it thins out the traffic a little bit in front of the net. It's an effective play. You don't necessarily have to score from that 45-foot shot on a clean shot into the net. It causes coverage problems. It creates some 2-on-1s. It forces decision-making.
Look at the zone time clicking up toward a minute on this shift alone. And Chara keeps it in as the Bruins get almost a full minute. If you were with us on Twitter during intermission, you saw the Bruins had about a 2.5-minute edge on attacking zone time in the first period. NESN tracking it once again this year, and we're adding a couple of wrinkles to it, so we hope you're enjoying it. Matt Donovan goes for a tumble under Robbins' hit. Robbins has really made his impact felt in this game. Credited with 6 hits in the game. And that leads all skaters. Josh Bailey fishing the puck out of his skates has Franz Nielsen straight up the boards. Okposo cutting through the center circle, but the Bruins shut down the space. Is this a little bit of the system work that you were talking about, Brick? How if the Bruins can turn the puck over closer to goal, they're going to do it?
No, I'm talking about the adjustments the Bruins want to make through the neutral zone, more or less. The defenseman would hold the dots, wait for the back pressure from the forward, and kind of channel the puck to the outside of their own zone when it was a 3-on-3 perhaps.
Okay.
You know, the 3-on-3 is not there in the neutral zone immediately, so they hold their lane. They maybe allow you to come in the offensive zone, but it keeps the play to the outside, allows the goaltenders to read where the shots potentially come from, and it puts a tremendous pressure on the back checking forward. Now, if you have a chance to stand up in the neutral zone, that's more the adjustment we're talking about.
Bergeron's going to go for tripping Anders Lee. He got the stick toward the puck, and Lee had his feet moving. And Lee went for a tumble. The Bruins will be on the penalty kill when this game resumes. Bobby Robbins has handed out half a dozen hits. And they'll pass some ice bags around in the Islanders room.
Tonight's poll is presented by the new Scion TC. Which sport has the best preseason? Reply A for the NBA, B for the NFL, C for the NHL, or D for MLB. Please text your answer to 536-536. Message and data rates may apply. Text HELP for info and visit NESN.com/terms for terms and conditions and privacy policy.
Play to your strengths. Might be a hockey audience watching that one.
You know, my oldest brother John interned with the Texas Rangers back in the day. After he had got his master's degree in sport management at UMass, and I went down to visit him during spring break because I was in college.
Yeah. Tavares can't connect to Conacher. Nielsen winding around. He's a pretty niftily skilled player. Isles on the power play.
And I watched firsthand Major League Baseball spring training. And the Texas Rangers were an older, experienced team.
So, were you watching the starters drive toward the golf course after the third inning?
There wasn't a whole lot of sense of urgency. There wasn't a whole lot of competition for jobs.
TJ Brennan can't get anything on it. Nielsen back to Brennan. He scores on the tip in front by Conacher. Or maybe it got cleanly through. Conacher was creating a screen in front of Svedberg. Not sure if he made contact, but the puck leaks through, and it's a 1-1 game.
You know, Conacher's not a big guy, and you know, he has to work the front of the net given the formation and where he is relative to the offensive zone. It looked like this drive just deflects off Svedberg. It's like he just got a piece of it.
The puck skipped.
Hard to tell if Conacher got a piece or if it deflected off Boychuk. Maybe this angle will give us the best look. Hard to tell. A lot of bodies, but it gives you a good idea what the goaltenders have to deal with on shots from the point. Shots don't have to be bullets. They just have to get through, be accurate. The opportunity for a screen or a redirect or a rebound. I mean, that's the idea when you're shooting against goaltenders at the NHL these days.
Cizikas off Svedberg's steer to the corner. Martin, the backhand, saved by Svedberg, and he covers up. Well, here are the Bruins out shooting the Islanders 17-7. And it's a 1-1 game. Poulin has made some terrific saves in the Islanders' end of the ice, but it seems as if it's almost an echo from the series that resulted in a Bruins disappointing ouster.
Well, you know, one of the three areas of the game, right? Offense, defense, special teams. You know, power play can do great things for you. Obviously, you can do things when you put power play goals up. You can tie hockey games. You can take a lead. You get yourself back in the hockey game. Change momentum. Special teams are huge.
It certainly didn't break the Islanders' hearts that Patrice Bergeron was in the box because he is one of the elite penalty killers in the NHL. Jack Capuano. There, you know, as always, there will be with any head coach of any New York team in any sport. Rumors were swirling at one point last year, but managed to stay at the helm. Cunningham, shoulder to shoulder, flips Cizikas. He's gonna go. Interference. Marchand.
Well, that happened in the neutral zone, Jack. This exchange between Marchand and Donovan. Donovan tried to stand up in the neutral zone. And Marchand thought he went a little low on him as he released the puck on the indirect pass down the wall. and then he took a shot at him in the back of the head. I don't know if Donovan was kind of lunging at him, kind of lost his balance a little forward, but Marchand didn't like it. The body contact was within the time allowed to make contact after the self-pass, but then that puck went in the corner. The interference call on Cunningham, and the Islanders, who just scored a power play goal, back on the power play, looking to take the lead in this one.
TJ Brennan getting credit for the goal at 8:20, and now we're at the 9:08 mark. And here we go again with an Islanders power play, but Marchand breaks forward with Bergeron. The backhand floats toward Bullen. He spills it out of the glove, and it was almost an easy chance for Bergeron. Oposo zips it. Wing to wing to Tavares, shields but gets caved in on Hamilton's check. Chara cruises over to the boards to take the puck. Tavares drops it to no one, and Brennan retrieves at the Islanders line. On the bounce, Nielsen can't backhand it past Chara. Hamilton seals it off with a skate, tumbling puck. Conacher shields from Gagne. Brennan off Tavares' skates back to center.
Yeah, that wasn't intended for Tavares. He was trying to get the puck over to Nielsen on the half wall.
Brennan takes the space. Oposo, the short backhand pass to Nielsen. Caron gives him a bump. Brennan a lot of space near the blue line, but Kelly gets a piece of the puck. Oposo in a tangle, gets there first. Oposo settles it, flattens the puck, takes the hit, but his pass offline. Dougie Hamilton over there on the board.
Good stick by Kelly initially, then a good force because Oposo didn't have time to make a play, and then a good read by Hamilton to take away time and space.
About 3/4 of a minute to go on the power play for the Islanders. Brennan wrists it around the boards. Seidenberg knocks it down, gives it away from Strome, bounces right in front. Coleman getting a piece of the puck, but Boychuk there to spank it the length of the rink. Bruins change out the penalty killing forwards. It's Marchand and Bergeron back out there for the final 20 seconds of the penalty kill. Ryan Strome with a rolling puck, taps it past Seidenberg. Boychuk takes the hit. Seidenberg right there next to his defensive pair, but can't clear the zone. Strome turns, faces Bailey, tries to get it back in front. Boychuk knocks it down. It's a scramble. Bouncing puck on the clear by Seidenberg. And here's Bergeron stretching it wide. Penalty coming on the Islanders. Bergeron goes right to the net. Tries to drag the backhand behind, but Poulin keeps it from getting inside the post. Berkshire Bank Rewind coming up next. We take a look at Patrice Bergeron's goal that gave the Bruins a 1-0 lead. 30-second break, and we'll be right back with you. Time for the Berkshire Bank Exciting Rewind.
We're going to take a look at the Bergeron goal back in the first period that gave the Bruins the 1-0 lead. Faceoffs are critical. It's all about puck possession. Claude Julien talked about it this morning at his presser, saying we want to win as many faceoffs as possible because scoring goals and controlling the game and preventing goals all start with possession. And Bergeron, maybe the best faceoff man in the league. Top of your screen, get a look at the effort by Cunningham. He locks up with Hickey. That allows Bergeron a chance to get in on the puck. Beautiful use of the body, Jack, to protect this puck. Left side of your screen. Tavares actually wins the draw, but look at that little left leg extension. Use your backside, protect it. Tavares is a pretty good defensive player, but Bergeron's able to shield him in order to protect the puck for the wraparound, and sometimes you got to get a good bounce. That puck deflects off 46 in white. There's Donovan, the defenseman for the Islanders, comes right back to Bergeron, who buries it short side high. Tavares relaxes just a minute because he thinks the puck is gone, and at that time, he gave the Bruins a 1-0 lead.
All right, so Matt Donovan in the box and Jeremy Smith in the crease. Played for Springfield last season. Save percentage almost at .900.
He's had a good camp.
Bruins have added institutional depth big time in the last 30 months. Soderberg slides it past Gagne. Soderberg, Eriksson, Bergeron up front. We saw Soderberg and Eriksson have terrific chemistry last season, and Gagne is one of the point men along with Hamilton. Up to the attacking line of Bergeron. Chips the pass for Eriksson. Good strength on the stick from Scott Mayfield, pinning Eriksson's stick.
Now this is that same power play from a year ago when Gagne is just taking Riley Smith's position on this unit.
Riley Smith not playing tonight. Here's Clutterbuck with a giveaway. Centering pass. Reinhart denied. And Smith makes a big stop for Boston as the Bruins get sloppy on the power play.
Pretty good stop. You come into the game a little cold. Just beyond the midway point, you make a mistake handling the puck, and it leads to a quality scoring chance. So a nice recovery by Smith. I mean, this is just a simple little dump in, little miscommunication between Hamilton and Smith. And now it's a quick 2-on-1 right in front of the net. Real good opportunity. Reinhart on the feet from Clutterbuck. But Smith well positioned to make up for that turnover. His own, that is.
Dougie Hamilton was not showing off his manicure. I'm deducing that he got slashed. Griffin Reinhart banks one off the boards. Boychuk has Marchand and Krejci sprinting ahead, gives to Krejci around Cizikas. Nifty stick handling move. Lucic takes it out of the air, fires across the crease. Krejci upended as he goes past Reinhart. And now Churchman gets the goalie's stick back for him. Krejci one-time cross ice from Marchand. Draws Reinhart and Cizikas. Lucic moves the feet out of the corner. The chip pass to Krejci at the left point. Pass Martin's stick to Boychuk. The tap to Lucic. Quickly back to Boychuk. Krejci's one-timer off Churchman's skate. Marchand. Krejci. Marchand closes, swings it through the high slot. Boychuk was taking a different angle.
Boychuk and David Krejci wanted to switch sides because Boychuk's got the better one-timer than David Krejci. You want Krejci on the right side perhaps to make more plays, more puck possession. And as they were switching, Marchand on the attack at the top of the circle thought he had Boychuk coming down the slot.
0 shots on goal for the Bruins. Donovan is out of the box. Hickey holds up Kelly as he goes toward the corner. Robbins sticks out his butt against Mayfield to try to shield it and get some space, and Kelly takes advantage of that to carry the puck in front of the Zamboni doors. Bruins had 57 seconds of zone time on the 2-minute power play. Robbins jabbing along the board. Seidenberg's drive stick saved by Poulin. Robbins gives Hickey a pretty hard bump. And the Islanders send the puck the length of the rink. It'll be icing.
Join the Bruins and USA Hockey for the 2014 Coaching Symposium this Saturday, October 4th at TD Garden. This free marquee event offers USA Hockey accredited coaches a valuable opportunity to learn from the very best hockey experts from across the country. To register tonight, visit bostonbruins.com/youth hockey. Jack, I'll be emceeing that event again this year. So come on down and check it out. It's very worthwhile.
Yeah, it is an investment in the game from the people who play it and coach it at the highest level. Skilly's pass goes past Kuhlman. Smith around the boards. Soderberg with the bump on Skilly. Soderberg tosses the puck around to the far side. Reinhart with the bang on Fraser. Soderberg trying to rake the puck out of the skates. Tavares bounces it back. Reinhart controls, wrists it down the slot. Skilly's tip bounces wide. Tavares tumbles off Boychuk's bump. Kuhlman goes 1 against 4. Soderberg and Gagne cut him off, and Fraser outlets to Gagne. Brennan finishes his check on Gagne, and the Bruins change out. It's Bergeron with Craig Cunningham and Brad Marchand. Marchand steals it cleanly from Reinhart, tries to drop pass. Reinhart with a good recovery, strong on the stick, pinning it down. Clutterbuck with a big hit on Bergeron, who takes it to move the puck to Hamilton. He can't split the D. Reinhart with another good bump. A strong shift for Griffin Reinhart. And now Chara wants to go, and Clutterbuck, oh, the big man with a couple of long distance bumps right on the nose.
It was the contact in the neutral zone that Clutterbuck initiated with Bergeron, who braced himself at the last second, and then Chara coming over to let Clutterbuck know that that was uncalled for or didn't like it, was going to respond to it, and then Clutterbuck tried to trip Bergeron at the end of the play in the offensive zone.
The word's not necessary. The message, I've got his back.
Well, training camp serves a number of different purposes. One thing the Bruins are going to try to improve on this season is better neutral zone play in terms of taking away the ice. The Bruins are famous for taking away the center of the ice and allowing teams sometimes to enter into their offensive zone because they stay inside the dots. We're showing you a number of examples where the Bruins, when they have bodies back, when they have that quality first forward in position in the neutral zone, you can see the defenseman, Jack. They're getting outside the dots, closer to the boards, sealing off areas, not allowing teams to enter with possession, even though they're really not in danger in terms of numbers. 4-on-4, 5-on-5, 3-on-3, whatever it is. They're being more aggressive through the neutral zone to limit what the offensive team is trying to do with the puck.
Islander penalty number 15, Val Clutterbuck.
Islanders are on the power play as Chara got an extra 2 being served by Carl Soderberg. Ericsson's wrist shot goes fluttering wide.
15 minutes 4 seconds. Clutterbuck minor penalty on sportsmanlike conduct. Chara minor penalties on sportsmanlike conduct.
They each got 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct, and Chara got 2 for roughing. Seidenberg strongly through the corner, gets it to Gagne, whips it out to center off the stick of Brennan. Here's Caron with a stutter step and a shot on Poulin to draw an attacking zone faceoff about 180 feet from where the Islanders want the puck to be.
Jordan Caron signing a 1-year deal to come back with the Boston Bruins, an opportunity. He's had a good camp. Bruins management team, coaching staff appreciate the effort that he's brought this year. He's a versatile guy, can play both left and right wing. One of those energy guys, role players. You're looking for third, fourth line duty, maybe a 13th or 12th forward if necessary, but obviously in a battle for a job and playing time.
The shot from the point goes all the way through to the end boards. Bergeron spanks it off glass and it wobbles all the way down to Poulin. Matt Donovan with 3/4 of a minute to go on the Islanders power play. Strome, it hops off Cunningham's stick. McQuaid takes it indirect for Bartkowski. He runs into the check of Kuhlman, who sticks it around to the near boards. Kuhlman squirts it loose. Kelly one-hands to McQuaid, and he sends it the length of the rink. Bruins change out. It'll be Hamilton and Seidenberg, the defensive pair, with Eriksson and Krejci, the penalty-killing forward. Smith knocks the puck down. Donovan in the corner. Krejci bounces off of him. Strome trickles it back toward Opozo. Eriksson with a step around him. 0 shots on goal for the Islanders on the power play. Ryan Strome across the spoke B. Opozo works Hamilton's side. Hamilton locks him up. Opozo very strong. Nice turn out of the corner. Gets to the middle and scores. Excellent individual effort from Kyle Opozo, showing skating strength, the ability to shield the puck, stick handle in traffic, and finish it off.
Well, there were certainly people that were Team USA fans a year ago and going into the Olympics and thought a guy like Kyle Opozo deserved to be on that team, and he just makes a real strong move, able to protect the puck on the backhand side, spin right between David Krejci and Dougie Hamilton, and then explode into that face-off circle, and that little pump fake. I mean, that's a goal scorer's pump fake. If you have time and space in that area, the good ones don't panic. That heart rate stays the same. You got to get some goaltenders to move, to open up. Sometimes you're able to freeze them. That little pump fake, he freezes Smith. You wait a half stride. Now that wide side of the net opens wide up, and he's not going to miss.
I will admit that my jaw dropped when Opozo's name did not appear on that Team USA roster, and he was red hot at the time that he could have been selected.
Yeah, like Billy Horschel not making the Ryder Cup team.
Not that you're bitter. Bartkowski trickles it across the line, and it comes back in for offside. An interesting change in the way this game is being officiated this season, and from here on we believe that there really isn't that sort of territorial thing with linesmen and referees now. They're really trying to help each other out because of the increased speed of the game in the last 10 years.
Yeah, the phrase that they're using is real time. The game is just so fast. There's so many bodies on the ice. The ice surface isn't getting any longer or any wider. It's that 200 by 85. And the focus has got to be really as a team. We're a four-man unit. For the integrity of the game, the good of the game, let's work together to get the calls right, to make this the fairest sport that it should be. And, if you have that attitude, that team attitude, you're going to call it a good game.
Cal Clutterbuck gives it to Tavares. Back to Conacher. He scores. The Islanders scoring off the rush. John Tavares feathering a beautiful, shootable pass to Corey Conacher, who made no mistake.
Well, they got a power play goal to get themselves on the scoreboard at 1-1, and since that power play, they've been a bit of a different team here in the second half of the second period. And the Bruins have bodies back, but they're allowing seam passes. That's a beautiful pass by Tavares. Conacher showing that great wrist shot capability, all in one motion to receive that puck and be in a shooting mode as you receive it. That quick release, Smith had no chance to get set. Quality goal, well-executed play coming across the Bruin blue line.
Calls to mind a comment you made in the past break about turning the stick. Now Tavares showed with his hands that he was maybe going one path with the puck, but then he turned the stick at the last moment. He angled it back across the grain, and that was exactly where Conacher was hoping the puck would be.
Yeah, it's that, like Oposo freezing Smith on his individual effort goal. It's that rolling of the stick. I might try to find, Clutterbuck on the net drive. Maybe I'll throw this puck right at Smith's pads, look for a rebound. Oh, wait a second, I got a better option. I've convinced people that I might try plan A or plan B. Well, plan C was really what I had in mind all along. And he finds Conacher coming late. But that's a quality pass by a real good player.
So a couple of goals in the last couple of minutes of the second period for the Islanders, and a 3-1 lead against the Boston Bruins here in preseason. Frans Nielsen, Cunningham gets the shot off from a bad angle. Hickey rolls it back to his goaltender with exactly a minute to go in the second.
Tonight, following Bruins coverage, check in with Jamie and Elle for NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. They'll have more on the Bruins and a complete recap of the Patriots' loss in Kansas City last night, including safety Devin McCourty in studio. Get all you need to know tonight after our Bruins coverage.
Dougie Hamilton trickles it to the face-off dot. Robbins unable to get the shot through. Oposo with a 360-degree pivot. Seidenberg stops the body. He goes down, but the puck comes loose, and Robbins there to retrieve. Hamilton off the boards up to the Islanders line. Donovan backhands it back to center. So the Bruins really are going to have something to play for in the third period, Brick. They're down a couple of goals. And the Islanders, as pesky as they were against Boston last season, are giving the Bruins a preseason fit tonight.
Well, I'd like to sit up here and say, the score is almost secondary when you talk about training camp, but you're on home ice. You're fronting your crowd. You want to win a hockey game. You're playing a team you feel like you ought to beat. And maybe this isn't the Bruins starting lineup that you're going to see on October 8th, but they're a team. They're 34 deep right now as a team in training camp, and you want to compete, you want to play well, but yeah, they'll look at this 3-1 deficit and say, we got some work to do here in the third period as individuals and as a team.
And Dale and Barry, as Brick has said before, if we're keeping score, we might as well win.
It's funny how they think that way, isn't it? Bruins trailing, however, in this one, losing to the New York Islanders 3-1 at the end of 2 periods of play. Goaltending split so far between Nicholas Svedberg and Jeremy Smith.
We have got a busy start to the season. 6 games in the first 9 nights. 4 of those 6 games on NESN. And then our producer Brian Zacchillo is overjoyed that we're going to have a day off in Buffalo on the 17th of October. Oh, yes. They call him Mr. Zaccello at some of the, shall we say, eating establishments. We're at the intermission between the second and third period. Moments ago, Brick got a chance to chat with the newest member of the Bruins coaching staff.
Joe, hope you had a great summer, but it's hockey season now. As a coach during training camp, what are you looking for? The healthy competition? Is it systems? Is it individual play? What are you looking for most?
Yeah, I think it's a healthy competition for some guys, obviously. Other guys are just trying to make sure that they get their feet wet again and get back to playing and trying to get their game in order again. So a couple of different things. And then system-wise, of course, we're trying to make sure that we get everybody on the same page as quick as possible. I know there's been a system in place here for a few years, and it seems to be very successful. But we do have some new players, again, like we said before, that are vying for spots here. And we want to make sure they're comfortable in the type of game that we want to play.
And how satisfied are you with that healthy competition? Is it something that's going to allow this team to be better than they possibly could be from a year ago?
I think so. I think with some of the people that are pushing for jobs right now, and obviously more ice time too for guys that have been here. It's an opportunity for some players to get a little bit more, and it's an opportunity for some other guys to get an opportunity just to show you want to stay here and be a part of this. So I like where we're at as far as the internal competition right now. It seems to be a pretty good driving force in the room right now.
Well, thanks, Joe, and welcome back to Boston.
Okay, thanks, Brick.
Joe Sacco joins Bruins team that is outstandingly deep. And you see some of the guys who are not playing tonight, and you get a look at me looking down at my monitor. But
keep your head up, Jeff.
That's excellent advice. It's interesting that Joe Sacco was known as a players coach at Erie in the AHL, head coach with the Colorado Avs in a very developmental stage, and now he joins a veteran Bruins team that expects to win as an assistant. It's a totally different role for him.
And that word veteran, he's also joining a veteran coaching staff, meaning a little bit older than Joe Sacco. And the way the game is today, how it's really reliant on not only drafting and developing, but being productive young players. And you have to understand today's young player and what tactics do you need to use in order to get the most out of those young players and have a greater understanding of how things have changed, how the money has changed things, and everything that has changed, the speed of the game, the style of the game. And he might be a guy that might be a little bit more, I won't say in tune with it, but if you have that variety on your coaching staff, it gives players a better opportunity.
Marchand to Bergeron. He snaps one off the glass, missing high. Marchand with his second well-timed check of the night. Marchand shielding the puck out of the corner, holding it right at the edge of his control. Hamilton down the boards to Bergeron. Bergeron looking for Cunningham in front, but Hickey was able to ride him off. Bergeron to Marchand, holds to the backhand, slides it diagonally through the seam. Hamilton backing along the line, but his pass deflects off a stick to the corner. Bergeron takes a hit from Matt Donovan down there. Cunningham squirts it loose. Clutterbuck reverses against the grain. Donovan holds, and Marchand caves in. Donovan. And we get a penalty here.
They're going to call Marchand for a rough?
Marchand and Clutterbuck have had a couple of confrontations, and Marchand wants to know what he was whistled for. Well, he did leave his skates, and he made contact with the stick.
Well, that is the penalty call. They kind of used that stick and gloves to get it to the back of the head of Donovan. They've had a little something going. Take it back to that exchange they had in the neutral zone that drifted into the offensive end for Boston. But Marchand will go to the box. Islanders will go on the power play. Marchand got left out there by himself. It's hard grinding work, especially at this point in the year when you're trying to find, no matter what you do on dry land training, it's just not the same. So Bergeron and Cunningham, after a lot of board battles in the offensive zone, they change at the right time, 200 feet from their own goal. It's a smart change, but Marchand stays on the ice, and now he's all by himself. And he went after Donovan a little bit, and now he's in the box.
The Bruins understanding the geometry through the neutral zone. Kelly and Erickson with some good tandem work up front, enabling Boychuk to drive it in on the Islanders' goal. Poulin still in net, and Smith in goal for Boston. Gagne tries to one-hand it out of the slot. Bailey couldn't control for the Islanders. Strome back to Churchman, the shot, and a save by Smith. Boychuk, the big reach, and he tumbles it all the way down the ice.
Nice stop by Smith. Read the play well. Got a good push out of the net, out to the top of the blue paint.
TJ Brennan slips it over to Nielsen and Tavares. Can't go through McQuaid. He taps to the boards, and Craig Cunningham snaps the puck all the way down. Bartkowski paired with McQuaid. Cunningham and Bergeron, the penalty-killing pair up front, with Marchand in the box. McQuaid, the hand pass short of the blue line, so it's a legal hand pass. Bartkowski with a shift on Okposo, closes. He scores! Matt Bartkowski. So he's got a playoff goal. He's got a preseason goal. We're still waiting for his first regular season goal, but that's what he can do. Man, can that guy skate.
A couple instances earlier in the hockey game, he used that little explosive stride of his just to find open space in the defensive zone. It's not worthy of a replay, but it speaks to his ability to skate. It's a play knocked down by McQuaid. That's a good play, and with the rules changes over the years, that allows for hand passes like that. And what a shot. Okposo's not a slow-footed guy. He's a pretty good skater. We saw him in the offensive zone with a good spin move, but this is on the defensive side of the puck in open space. And Bartkowski just explodes around him, and he let the shot go at the perfect time.
Tavares with a shift around Hamilton. The drive busts through Smith, and it goes up and out of play with 15 seconds to go in Marchand's penalty.
You got to have a real feel when you get in that offensive zone, when you're running out of time and space and when you're not. You know, Okposo knew that he had time because he beat two people coming off the wall. Hand pass by McQuaid, a heads-up feed by Bergeron. And now he knows Bartkowski. He's getting closed on. He got in by the dot, had his head up, knew exactly where he wanted to go with that puck, and ripped it short side.
Nielsen, the touch pass to Tavares with Conacher going down and parking in front of Smith. Donovan out at the blue line. Erickson picks it off. Trying to get away from Tavares in front of Marchand out of the box. He thinks he scores! Brad Marchand out of the box, and it's 3-3. But bam, and the Bruins have tied it in the first 3.5 minutes of the third period.
Well, he's playing on the edge tonight, Marchand, and that's usually when he plays his best hockey. He's had a real good camp. Real good stick by Louis Erickson. Nice delay by Marchand coming out of the box to stay onside and to create a good angle. Had to deal with the official. Did just that. Able to stay onside, and Erickson just throws it in his neighborhood. It's like a good first baseman. Just get it in my neighborhood. Could be in my feet, could be behind me, could be in front of me. I'll get it. Just get it to me, especially when I got open ice. Erickson makes the heads-up play, not only defensively, but then the good pass. And what a finish by Marchand. A little backhand, forehand move. Knew he, too, was going to run out of time. Donovan was closing him on the backside, so he went with that quick release underneath the pad through the legs. He's liking it.
2 goals in 43 seconds for the Bruins.
Real good read there by Erickson. He forced Donovan into thinking he had that pass back to Tavares. And then a quick stick to make the steal. And as he's racing for the puck, Jack, what do? You take a look around. That puck's not going anywhere. You know where that puck's going. You don't have to get fixated on it. Take a look and see what's happening. He recognizes Marchand's coming out of the box. That internal clock, that awareness that the penalty's about to expire. Now I have a chance to make an offensive play. Real good play by Erickson and a great finish by Marchand.
Boychuk takes a hit from Martin. After the timeout, Matt Martin coming out and trying to make a physical statement.
Well, you got to guess that the coaching staff kind of appealed to this group's competitive spirit in between the second and third period. You heard David with Chris Kelly with Garrett in between periods saying, yeah, we had a bit of a lull there in the second half of that second period. Well, came out strong here in the third.
Kelly strong on the edges. maintains possession and gets it to Caron. Back of the goal. Caron returns to Kelly. Up the wall for Boychuk. Slides it across to Seidenberg. The snapshot tipped on the way through. Robbins wreaking a little havoc, and he bangs against Martin. Boychuk tries to fire it middle. Churchman blocks it. Cizikas sweeps it forward, and here comes Skilly. Off-foot snapshot saved by Smith. Let's go Bruins. The chant at the TD Garden. Caron's shot goes off the stick of TJ Brennan, up and out of play. So the Bruins with a shot of adrenaline here in the beginning of the third.
Yeah, it's all about decision making, especially if you're a defenseman in the Bruins system. You see Boychuk pitching down the wall. He takes a look over his left shoulder. Yeah, I have help. I have Kelly coming to protect me on the backside. I'm going to pitch down the wall. He tries to make a play to the front of the net. That gets deflected. But the Bruins have enough back. They stay inside the dots. Kelly makes a good read. He allows Smith to know that that shot from Skilly is going to come from outside the dot. That's a save you got to get from your goaltender, and they get it.
Krejci and Oposo on the draw. The Islanders control. Brennan off the glass. It hops over McQuaid's stick. Bartkowski retrieves with Nielsen in pursuit. Lucic off the stick of Bailey. Eriksson off the skates of Bartkowski, but the Bruins get bodies back.
Looked like Eriksson wanted to go to the wide side to a posted up David Krejci at the defensive blue line and hit Bartkowski's skate.
McQuaid up for Lucic. The tap to Krejci. Closes, turns away from Reinhart, who keeps him on the perimeter. Chara steps into one, blocked, went down. Nielsen clears it after making the block with the shaft of his stick. Eriksson has the puck come off his stick on the end boards. And back to center. Chara retrieve. Brennan snaps the backhand all the way to the Boston end. Dougie Hamilton flags it down. Indirect long for Eriksson. He takes the Reinhart bump to get the puck deep. Soderberg goes in, drills Hickey, separates him from the puck, brings it back to Chara. The quick draw off the legs of Coulomb, and he's off to the races. A good read by Smith. Lee picks it off. Smith with a Tim Thomas adventure makes the stop between the hash marks, and the Bruins dodge a crazy bullet. Ryan Strome into a pack of black and gold sweaters, and Smith will calm us all down.
Well, as a goaltender, you got to be decisive. You got to make up your mind and commit to it, especially when the puck's up for grabs. Good shot by Conacher. Now he's got a major advantage because the Bruins are just kind of flat-footed. Frazier just came on the ice. Chara had the shot blocked. Smith commits to it. He just doesn't get this puck wide enough or high enough, and it was close to being offside. The Islanders make the steal. Lee tries to go forehand, backhand. Smith gets himself back in position to make the stop. And the Bruins do enough to keep this a 3-3 hockey game.
Oh, boy. Bergeron wins a face-off against Cizikas. Bruins with a double-digit shots on goal lead. Jack Skilly up to the dot. Serpentine route to the corner. Seidenberg keeps him on the perimeter. Skilly keeps his feet moving, shields it nicely. Bergeron really working him over. Skilly strong on the skates and finally loses possession. Cunningham keeps it moving after taking a tumble. Donovan drills it off the boards out to center. Seidenberg backhands through the seam. Cunningham touch pass to Bergeron in stride over the line. 3 on the right side. Bergeron's soft pass didn't get quite enough on it for Marchand. Marchand lifts the stick of Hickey and goes down, and a cross-checking penalty called here. About 7 minutes gone in the second period. Matt Bartkowski gets the powder keg lit. The Bruins score a couple in less than a minute. They'll be on the power play with a chance to take the lead. All right, Bruins on the power play. Bergeron, Soderberg, Eriksson up front. Gagne retrieving the puck along the boards, and Hamilton at the right point. Cizikas swats at it. Hamilton seals it in. Now it bounces over his stick. Let's go Bruins, the chant from a spirited preseason crowd at TD Garden. Hamilton off Gagne's stick. And Cizik is trying to thread the needle. Smith comes out and pokes the puck away after Hamilton couldn't quite stop Cizik from getting the shot off. Bergeron with an open side, closes, draws it back, and a save by Poulin. Gorgeous curl and drag move by Patrice Bergeron to get the puck to a great shooting position. Smith out of his goal again, fires it off the boards. Nielsen gets caught on the wrong side of the puck. The Bruins 3-on-2 on the power play. Krejci gets it deep for Marchand with Chara going all the way to the end boards. Lucic looks over his shoulder and finds Boychuk. He settles it, goes to the far side to Marchand in a lot of space. Marchand, the diagonal to Krejci. Boychuk's one-timer off Nielsen's stick and off by end glass. Lucic to Marchand. Boychuk. Marchand comes off the half boards. Lucic in the slide, gives it back. The cross-ice pass. Krejci rattles it off both skates. Back to Boychuk. A high drive with the leading edge of the puck on the high side. That puck just sailed. More than 40 seconds in zone time of the power play. Marchand gets a lot on it, and that allows Lucic to keep it alive to Krejci. Lucic back off the boards to center. Chara the spin. Tosses it down the boards. Lucic had his stick chopped out of his hands, apparently broken. He raises his palms. There's no call. Smith skids the puck through the corner and hops over Seidenberg's stick up to the red line. Marchand off the boards. One shot on goal for the Bruins during the power play. And the Islanders ice it.
Saturday at 5, check in with Dale, Billy, and Barry. When WB Mesa presents Bruins Face Off Live, they'll preview the Bruins and Red Wings matchup as both teams prepare for opening night. Check it out, Saturday at 5.
Tom Caron will be calling the play-by-play.
What?
Well, my contract only runs until midnight. A long-standing family obligation. Like 6,000 years. 10:55 left to go in this preseason game. Well, Matt Fraser hasn't gotten a lot of chances tonight, and it's got to be a little bit frustrating when you're a young player who's done well in the AHL. You've had a couple of cups of coffee, but you have limited chances to show what you can do in preseason games. And if it doesn't go your way, it's got to be a difficult thing to keep concentrating on just playing as well as you can within the system.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Control what you can control, and that's it. Don't worry about anything else. And if you caught his interview with Gary before the game, you know, he knows the numbers on the left side. He's a better left wing than he is a right wing. He's got an NHL shot. He plays with an aggressive style. The one thing that probably hurts him is his foot speed in order to get to the open space at this level. It's something he continues to work on. He's well aware of it, but he's got the right attitude. He competes. You know, everything you like in a hockey player, but he knows the numbers. And the question is, can you play a different position? Can you play the right side and still be an effective guy? Because that's where the openings seem to be. Bruins are going to be shorthanded right off the face-off here, and I believe it was Robbins, wasn't it?
Yeah. Earned 2 minutes for roughing.
Boston number 64, 2 minutes, roughing.
Left side of your screen. Little forearm shiver to Conacher, knocks him flying. Good enough to go to the box.
Yeah, if the glove comes up above the sweater, it's going to happen a lot. So to start the penalty kill, Kelly to take the face off. The other penalty killing forward is Caron. Opposo in a stalemate, and Tavares gets it back to Brennan, who has a power play goal tonight. The wrist shot tipped, saved by Smith. Nifty save on the right pad. Now Kelly's in a race against TJ Brennan.
Opposo get a piece of that?
It seemed to be on the way through. Tavares. Don't you love the way Brick's diplomatic? You know, always poses it as a question.
It's training camp for us too, Jeff.
Well, you know, it's astounding how the players know. And I'm not just talking about guys who are still playing. Tavares holds. Now gets it back from Conacher. Snaps to Brennan. Brennan's wrist shot saved by Smith, with Conacher again causing traffic in front. Corey Conacher jousting with Johnny Boychuk.
You know, Conacher's getting a lot of attention tonight, and it seems somewhere in our memory that Conacher may have had some kind of body contact, perhaps, with Dennis Seidenberg behind the net that may have ended his season. Yeah,
and a freak collision where Seidenberg kind of caught an edge, and so did Conacher, and Conacher fell across an extended leg. Here's Marchand across the front for Bergeron.
Not a bad idea by Marchand. Try to freeze the goaltender and allow Bergeron a little time to come around that net swing, but the pass was too far forward for any kind of one-timer. It was on the backhand side.
Josh Bailey around. Dougie Hamilton in front for Anders Lee, but he couldn't get the one-timer off. Here's Bailey coming off the half boards. The shot and the save by Smith, who has seen plenty of rubber since he entered the game. You didn't want to see this again, but here it is.
Yeah, he was still with the Ottawa Senators at the time, and big loss for the Boston Bruins. Bruins were able to manage without Seidenberg, certainly during the regular season, but he was a big loss, particularly in the second round of the playoffs. You know the man's in trouble because he's such a powerful guy, and he was still able to get himself up and over across the ice to the bench, but tough break for Seidenberg in that contact with Conacher.
In 3 of the last 4 playoffs, Dennis Seidenberg has been healthy as Brennan works the power play. Gets it back from Nielsen and drives it right into Kelly, who had the glove turned the wrong way with the palm forward. Sometimes a scary thing. But in 3 of the 4 last playoffs in which Seidenberg has been healthy, he's been on a team that eliminated the Bruins. He's been on a team that won the Stanley Cup, and he's been on a team that made the Stanley Cup final. You know, that's not coincidence. Dennis Seidenberg's value to this Boston Bruins team is right there with the core.
3-3 your score. The Bruins trailed 3-1 coming into the third period. Short-handed situation. A little over 30 seconds to go on the Islander power play. McQuaid knocks the puck down, finds Bergeron. Bergeron finds Bartkowski with an explosive move. Beautiful short-handed shot, short side to make it 3-2. And then Marchand, again, the Bruins, this time getting it back all even with Marchand coming out of the penalty box. A great steal by Eriksson to set up Marchand for the beautiful finish on the breakaway. Now we're tied at 3.
Marchand doing a little lobbying, possibly discussing being assessed for a penalty earlier tonight. Matt Martin not fleet of foot, and Johnny Boychuk shuts down the angle, follows him, stays between the man and the puck. Martin stabs it to Clutterbuck. Seidenberg seals off Clutterbuck. Seidenberg gets knocked down. Tries the hand pass. There's Boychuk with the angle and the strength again, overpowering Ryan Strome. Krejci patiently toward the blue line. Tosses to the corner. Lucic in front for Eriksson. He jams the goal. We're going to get a goaltending interference call on Louis Eriksson, I believe. Or interference.
Yeah, goaltender interference call. Yep. Goaltender in the blue paint. You got to do everything you can to avoid body contact. Lucic was looking for that bang-bang, throw it in that neighborhood. Eriksson just doesn't come to a complete stop outside the paint. Enough body contact with Poulin to get the call. The Bruins will be shorthanded again here in the third.
Yeah, Bruins expressing some displeasure with the call, but
well, it's an area of the game, and we learned this from our trip to New York City for the NHL Broadcasters Summit meeting, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
Heard from Stephen Waltham and what the concentrations would be this year as far as what the officials were looking for, and what to govern most. And goaltender interference is right at the top of the list.
And you know, we have been openly critical of authority figures and people in the league from time to time, but I got to say the operations people in the NHL, here's a skittering puck that goes off Tavares. The operations people have shown remarkable transparency and openness. They listen, and they have made the game so much better in the last 10 years. The drive and a save by Smith, and you heard, I believe, his skate clank off the post. The glove safely in his trapper the whole time.
Yeah, he gets a good look at this one-timer from about 55 feet, and you still have to be athletic. You got to have that good glove hand. Not sure if it was inside the post or not, but in a 3-3 hockey game on a one-timer, you don't play the percentages. You go get it.
Bartkowski shields from Conacher. McQuaid can't get it through the corner. And Opozo's whip pass through center comes all the way back to the Islanders' end. About a minute to go on the penalty to Louis Eriksson. Tavares over the spoke B, gains the line against McQuaid. The wrist shot sails over the glove side corner. Conacher faked as if he was going to go one way, goes the other. Tavares to Opozo to Donovan, walks in the drive, saved by Smith. He got a good look. And there's Conacher taking a shot from Bartkowski. Opozo, Caron, the helmet goes tumbling. McQuaid's in to play policeman.
Maybe more than that. Well, Conacher's been a target all night, and he's earned it. Like a Marchand, not a big guy, but plays on the edge. He's a good offensive player, but a smaller guy that can get under your skin a little bit with a little extracurricular. Little chop at the goaltender. Bartkowski comes over. Kelly comes over. Oposo and Caron. And that's where McQuaid gets in between Oposo and Caron, and you know, you get closer to the regular season, Jack. The exhibition games are winding down. You're getting to a smaller number in terms of the working group. You know, it's not 45, 50 guys in camp anymore. The competition is heightened with Krug and Smith back in the fold.
Yep.
Fewer jobs to be had. And the intensity comes up.
Isn't it great?
It is.
All right, so Conacher's in the bin, and Caron joins Eriksson there. Now, Corey Conacher had that sensational start coming out of the half-year lockout, the 2013 season with Tampa Bay. And then from what happened for about the next season or so of Conacher's career, it looked as if Steve Yzerman had timed it just perfectly, because he wheeled him to Ottawa. Wasn't that the Ben Bishop deal? And things did not work out for Conacher in Ottawa, and now he's getting another chance with the Islanders. But he's a guy who has tremendous fitness because of his size. Smaller players have to take that Marty St. Louis, Teo Fleury kind of physical approach to the game.
And he's looking at an opportunity to play with one of the better young players in the game right here on the New York Island is Jonathan Tavares.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he wants to bring it in camp in order to solidify his slot on the top line.
They're keeping company in the box, and Kelly has also gone in to the Boston side, so there's not a whole lot of room down there. Nielsen and Donovan, he closes to the slot. The shot goes off Craig Cunningham, skated wide. Ryan Strome backing up. It trickles to Nielsen. Nielsen to the corner. Seidenberg shuts down his space. Donovan fires toward goal, and again, Smith has a good look at it and gloves it down. They're all for roughing. By the way, all those minors.
Yeah, the Bruins getting some special teams work, particularly their penalty killing here in the third period.
Bergeron wins a face-off away from Bailey. Final 15 seconds of Eriksson's penalty, and he's on his feet at the gate. Strome taps to the corner. Chara takes it. Anders Lee goes in hard against Chara and bumps him backward. 4 shots on the power play for the Islanders. I believe they only have 2 even strength shots on goal this period and 8 on the power play. Hamilton's backup drive. Krejci retrieves. Hamilton saw pass through the seam. Krejci walks in. Shot saved by Pullen. Rebound. Eriksson sprays it off the end wall. Eriksson to Hamilton. Along the line to Chara. Chara fires it toward goal. Krejci digs the rebound out. Hamilton through the corner. Churchman pins Eriksson, but Lucic takes the puck, holds his position in his lane. Hamilton takes advantage, let him flood Eriksson's deflection, and the Isles are able to clear.
Well, zone time now at 5-on-5. Even strength Boston trying to exert that puck possession style of hockey, and it's the Krejci line on the ice in order to get it done. Krejci had the best chance when he walked right in.
Lucic barking at Mark Lendelin, gesturing toward his face. I think he got a real good high stick right across the mug. Bartkowski skips one in on Poulin. McQuaid takes the puck on the backhand. Trouble from Kuhlman. Fraser back to break up the play in the neutral zone. Krejci steps around one check. Fraser into the skates of Gagne. Couldn't get a good shooting position. McQuaid switches with Fraser. Fraser finds Gagne. Closes to Soderberg at the doorstep. Havoc near the net, and Gagne digs it out. Finds McQuaid, top of the circle. McQuaid too far forward for Bartkowski. Soderberg with a good bump on Brennan to win the puck. Reinhart throws it to the corner. McQuaid pinches down aggressively. Gagne shields the puck back to McQuaid. Holds the wrist shot, tippable, but it floats over the bar.
Poulin never saw it. Was hoping for a positional save. It was on goal.
40 seconds of zone time. The Bruins wearing down the Islanders here. Brennan hand passes it, and the Bruins get a little more zone time before finally Skilly brings it over the Boston line. Cuts to the inside. Smith the save, loses his stick. There goes a helmet, or maybe there's a head inside. No, Skilly still got it on his neck. Here comes Marchand. Wiggles it through. The play's getting a little loose and crazy. Here's Clutterbuck on the off wing. The shot scores. Cal Clutterbuck picks the glove side corner high from the off wing in that area where Claude Julien expects a 100% save percentage. And it's 4-3 Islanders with 3:09 to go.
And this was almost too many men on the ice because the puck is in the neutral zone. I thought Clutterbuck just came off the bench. And I don't know if his replacement, or who he was replacing, was completely off the ice at the time. But nonetheless, a good play by Clutterbuck. Explodes to the outside to give himself a little time and space and a potential opportunity to get a shot away. And he just flat out beats Jeremy Smith high to the glove side. Under the crossbar, far side. Good torque to the body, good release. And here we go. Coronado Poso saying hello again.
The stick work continuing after the drop of the puck.
At 16:51, unassisted goal for Cal Clutterbuck at 16:51.
Sure would be nice if we had a scrap tonight, wouldn't it? Probably a little late. Kelly tries to work it down the wall. Strome backhands it softly. Robbins keeps the puck alive for Boston. Caron shields it. Steps in front, and Bailey takes the pass from Opozo. Skitters it on towards Smith, who steers it over to Chara.
Yeah, you make a good point, Jack. You know, you're in training camp, and you know you're going to get into some skirmishes during the regular season, and you know, a good fight in the preseason sometimes is required. You're not going to get that in practice, or very rarely.
Anders Lee turns it away from Boychuk. The shot saved by Smith outside the crease, and he'll take the faceoff. 2:07 to go in this game. 4-3, the Islanders leading in preseason at TD Garden. TheNESN.com game report. Cal Clutterbuck always making contact, and he's made contact with the back of the goal. He has a 2-point night. Kyle Oposo with a spectacular individual move coming off the boards. Patrice Bergeron had the first goal of the game and an assist. Brad Marchand also has a 2-point night. Tavares walks right off the faceoff dot and gets a shot on Smith. It's the last year for the Islanders in Uniondale, New York, if things go to plan.
Where they headed, Jack?
Brooklyn. I'm sure those long-time season ticket holders from Eastern Long Island want to go back into the city at night. Garth Snow wants us to extend good wishes to his mother Helen in Rentham. Tavares and McQuaid, and anytime Tavares gets up slowly, there are going to be a lot of teammates around the offending party. Tavares is truly a franchise player and would be for any team.
Well, he's going to the penalty box, and he got locked up in a little exchange with Adam McQuaid behind the play, and both guys will probably end up in the penalty box right off the draw.
Austin McQuaid, 2 minutes slashing. 91 Islanders, 2 minutes slashing, 4-on-4.
I mean, it's just a puck battle. Little knockdown. McQuaid thought he had that little sleuth foot or some sort. The chop by McQuaid, but then Tavares came right back at him. They'll both end up in the box. And they'll both make their way to the locker room.
And you know, it's not the debating team out there. I mean, it must happen to you at times in your career. A guy hits you, it really hurts. Your first reaction is hit him back, isn't it?
Sure. You know, Tavares is going to the locker room, as is McQuaid. But, you know, this game could end up 4-4, could end up in a shootout. You know, I mean, you got to play some overtime. Don't take your gear off.
Well, time for the dry scrape, if there's OT. Overtime rules changes this year, too. They're going to play with the long change. The AHL is experimenting with what is a delightful notion: 4 minutes of 4-on-4 and 4 minutes of 3-on-3. Bergeron looking for the tie off of Oposo's skate. Oposo gloves it down. Bergeron with a good body check. Here's Marchand, a little dangle. Couldn't keep it on the forehand. Bruins have pulled the goalie. So it's 5 skating against 4. Chara the extra man on. Marchand turns, gives it ahead to Chara. You almost had the scene, but the puck skitters over his blade. And a pick job from 180 feet. I
Mayfield?
believe the goal scorer is Scott Mayfield, yeah. Who's been a pretty quiet player tonight, but he gets the last laugh.
Yeah, it's an almost through the neutral zone for Chara. Just couldn't quite get there. Mayfield just trying to get to this puck, and you know, you'd have to ask him, were you trying to hit the empty net, or were you just trying to get that puck out in the neutral zone? Were you trying to make a pass? I don't think he was trying to make a pass because it was in the middle of the ice. So maybe he was looking for the empty netter. I hope he didn't think he was short-handed.
No.
Because they weren't.
No. Had it all the way.
Eligible score number 42, Scott Mayfield, unassisted at 18:40.
So 5-3 for the Islanders. And here's Matt Markowski, who scored himself a goal earlier this evening. Krejci in the corner. Again, the Bruins playing with the goalie pulled mud as well. It's preseason. Nothing at stake here. And icing against the Isles. Mayfield unassisted.
Well, you think back in the context of the game as we make our analysis here in the final minute, the great opportunities the Bruins had once they got into even strength when the game was 3-3. They had a couple of real good looks. The opportunity for Krejci when he walked right in, the good pressure, the zone time that they had at that juncture in the hockey game, and then the turnover in the neutral zone during an Islander change where Clutterbuck comes right on the ice, and he's got some momentum. But it's a shot where you're looking for a save from your goaltender. Smith couldn't handle the high-rising wrist shot by Clutterbuck. It was well-placed, far side, right under the crossbar. And the empty netter, and that's where you stand.
And Jeremy Smith not happy with his performance, as you can see from his mannerisms on the bench. Hamilton to Krejci on the half boards. Boychuk sneaking in the back door. Chara tries to hit him with a pass, but it's a little off the angle. But Brick, among the forwards you highlighted before the game, who impressed you the most tonight?
Well, I really enjoyed Marchand this entire camp. He just looks like an NHL, such a good player. He and Bergeron together. I believe in those twosomes, the pairs. I think he can rotate a third line, a third guy on a line, at times throughout the season. But I like to keep two guys together, and that's a great combination. Those two players, they've been very good tonight. I've enjoyed Bobby Robbins tonight. That's a guy that understands what's in front of him, his opportunity. I mean, you can picture him as the 13th forward, a guy that, depending on what the matchup is, who you're playing, do you need a burst of energy? He's a good guy maybe to have around. He's certainly competing for a job. Other than that, it's been kind of quiet. I was curious about Gagne. What's he going to bring? What's the team looking for in him? Does he fit? Is he a top 9 forward? He's not going to be a fourth line guy. Can he be inside the top 9? And as far as on the back end, I've been really impressed with Dougie Hamilton. The expectation for Hamilton this year is limitless. Really going to blossom into a terrific young player. Some of the veteran defensemen. I was curious to see what Barkowski would give you tonight, knowing that Torrey Krug now is back in the Bruins training camp. Those were the kind of the bigger stories for me tonight when I was, watching this hockey game. Not so much systems, not so much scores, not so much the veteran players, but the guys that are kind of competing, the guys that are on the bubble. And you can tell who the NHL players are, certainly. But the Bruins, the one thing that you do know is they do have, regardless of the score, they got a lot of depth in their organization, a lot of competition, and that's healthy, and it gives them options moving forward because they have some cap issues, as you pointed out early in the broadcast.
Chara's wrist shot at the final siren. The Islanders will take a 5-3 preseason win out of TD Garden. State of the game brought to you by Digital Federal Credit Union. What can DCU save you? Craig Cunningham with a pretty good chance in the first period, but Poulin goes post to post and takes one right off the grill. Cal Clutterbuck with the difference maker in this one from the off wing, a little bit outside the house, but it was inside the post. Dale?